Hi everyone! Have you ever escaped danger by a mere chance? All of us sometimes find ourselves in similar situations. But there is a special type of people who are incredibly lucky. They miss the flights that result in deadly crashes, dodge the lethal attacks of a predator, or survive deadly accidents. When you hear their stories, you start to believe in fate. Today, we will tell you about incredibly lucky people. Let's get it on. Keon Weber Hayes. According to recent reports by international research centers, in 2018, humans were attacked by sharks 130 times. And 66 of the attacks were not provoked. However, only 4 cases resulted in death. We wonder what the lucky people who managed to escape the jaws of a bloodthirsty predator feel at the very last moment. Keon Weber Hayes was only 13 years old when he survived the attack of a white shark during a vacation in the California town of Encinitas. While the teenager's mother was on the beach, Keon and his friend Noah decided to dive into the ocean to hunt for lobsters, which is a common practice at that place. At some point, when the boy was floating up to the surface, he felt that something grabbed him and tried to drag him to the bottom. He was certain it was his friend Noah who was just playing a joke on him. When Keon managed to reach the surface, he looked at his hand and immediately realized that he was in danger. His wetsuit was completely torn, and there was a big wake of blood behind him. Fortunately, the boy's kayak was close, and the teenager managed to quickly reach it and then get to the shore. The rescue team quickly picked Keon up and carried him to the helicopter. The bloodthirsty shark inflicted serious injuries on his chest, back, face, and ear. But fortunately, his internal organs and arteries were not affected. Keon had surgery that day, which lasted 5 hours. About 1,000 stitches were used to close up all his cuts. More than a year has passed since the attack. Do you think Keon decided to give up his hobby? Not at all. Since then, he managed to get a diver license and started surfing again. He also says that after the incident, he began to love sharks even more than before. Sounds incredible, right? Sonny Setiawan. If you have seen the movie The Curious Case of Benjamin Button with Brad Pitt, you probably remember the episode where one of the characters got into a car crash. It proves that sometimes we are seconds away from tragedy, which can be caused by a phone forgotten on the kitchen table before leaving the house. This man from Indonesia experienced something similar. He missed the crashed flight due to traffic jams. He had bought the plane tickets in advance, and according to statistics, the likelihood of buying a ticket for a deadly flight is 1 in 8 million. Sonny Setiawan is a local official who was supposed to fly from the Indonesian capital Jakarta to the city of Pangkal Pinang. But as it took too long for him to get to the airport, he had to settle for a different time. The most interesting thing is that Sonny has long been used to living in 2 cities. Every Friday, he returned to his family through Jakarta, and on Mondays, he flew to work in Pangkal Pinang. He always arrived a few hours before the flight, at about 3 in the morning on Monday. However, on that fateful day, the traffic was congested, and the man missed his flight. Imagine his shock when he got off Pangkal Pinang and found out that the previous flight crashed with 189 passengers on board. The plane disappeared from the radar 13 minutes after departure and crashed into the sea near the island of Java. Nobody survived. Josiah Weidman. According to statistics from the National Weather Service, every year, there are at least several dozen lightning strike fatalities in the United States, and 24,000 worldwide. Still, many people manage to survive the lightning strike. Last year, this guy had an encounter with this dangerous weather phenomenon, and he stayed alive thanks to pure accident. Josiah, who was 13 at the time of the incident, was getting home with his friend Javier and carrying his favorite skateboard with him. The guys had run away from his skate park after heavy rain began in the city of El Mirage. It was then that the lightning hit Josiah, throwing the poor fellow up into the air. He lost consciousness and hit his head, but survived because his skateboard took the brunt of the electric shock. After that, the teenager was put into an induced coma for 3 days due to a strong head injury and a concussion. But it was clear he was out of danger. It's scary to think what would have happened if Josiah had not been saved by his favorite skateboard, because the average lightning strike has an energy of 1 billion joules. This is enough to power a 60-watt light bulb for 6 months. Tupac Mosley. To be honest, This story is much more inspiring than the stories shared by life coaches. Tupac from the US city of Memphis was in a difficult position after his father died. He did not even have a place to live. After he failed to pay his bills for a couple of months, he and his family were evicted from the house. They had to spend some time on the street. Then they asked a charity organization for help and found a low-cost social housing. Tupac decided that the only way to help the family was to focus on learning. After many months of studying, the high school student managed to graduate with honors and received dozens of different scholarships. Their total amount reached the unthinkable figure of $3 million. Of course, most of the money can only be used to pay for the university, but Tupac will still get a certain amount for other needs, and this will definitely solve all his family's problems at once. The bulk of scholarships Tupac won were given to the authors of the best essays on various topics. Tupac wrote a touching story about his own name and won the prestigious Bill Gates Scholarship. You've probably guessed that he was named in honor of the legendary rapper Tupac Shakur. As Tupac puts it, the name is both a blessing and a curse for him. On the one hand, it is an honor and a tribute to a beloved artist, and on the other hand, it's the reason he is often not taken seriously. Now he has a bright future ahead of him. Of the many educational institutions that were ready to take him, Tupac decided to choose the State University of Tennessee, where he would study electrical engineering. Shortly before this, the dean of the university personally came to Memphis from Nashville to offer Tupac a scholarship, including free accommodation in a dorm and meals. Mamoru Gassama. Still believe that Superman and Spider-Man exist only in comic books and science fiction films? You might be wrong, and this guy is living proof of that. In the spring of 2018, he made the headlines of French and international newspapers. Mamadou got a nickname, Spider-Man, when he accidentally saw a small child in one of the districts of Paris hanging on the 4th floor of the balcony. It was later revealed that the kid's father left him unattended and went to the store, and returned when it was too late. Mamadou, however, didn't hesitate a second. Supported by the cheering crowd, he, like a skilled acrobat, climbed 4 floors of the building and saved the child. He managed to do this in about 30 seconds. The most fascinating thing about this whole story is that Mamadou was an illegal migrant from Mali. He arrived in France amidst the European migrant crisis. After the video of his heroic actions went viral on social networks, grateful citizens decided to create a petition to help Mamadou get French citizenship. And guess what? They did it. Moreover, he even met with French President Emmanuel Macron in the Élysée Palace and received the medal for courage and a job in the French fire services. So, this turned out well for everyone. Poppy. Sometimes luck smiles not only on people, but also on animals. Any cat owner knows, cats can often be found in the most unexpected parts of your house, like shelves with clothes, shoeboxes, sinks, empty flower pots. They seem to feel comfortable everywhere. Sometimes they can even get into a washing machine. This is where our last story begins, which, thankfully, has a happy ending. One evening, Kim Burr, the owner of the 6-month-old kitty Poppy, was loading her dirty clothes into the washing machine. Some 20 minutes later, the woman suddenly realized that she could not find her kitten anywhere. She immediately started to search the house, and it turned out that over the last hour, Poppy had not been seen by any of her family members. They turned the house upside down, but the cat was nowhere to be found. But then Kim had a sudden hunch. And it proved to be right. Poppy had really been spinning in the washing machine along with a bunch of dirty clothes. She had only 10 minutes until the start of the spin cycle, which would certainly leave the kitten no chance of survival. Kim rushed to turn off the machine, mentally preparing herself for the worst. And indeed, when she pulled the cat out of the machine, she realized that Poppy looked completely lifeless and could not breathe. However, the Burr family did not lose hope. Kim took the cat to the nearest vet clinic. The cat's temperature was below normal. Her head and eyes were damaged, and her lungs were filled with water. It's hard to believe it, but all the bones of the cat were intact. Thanks to the doctors, she quickly recovered and started to enjoy life again as if nothing had happened. So if you have a cat at home, always check where it is before doing the laundry. Who knows what mischief your pet may be up to? That's it for today. See you soon!